Hello and welcome. Today we have Jack with us. How are you, Jack?
I'm doing really good.
That's super. Well, how I like to start out with these interviews are, how did you get involved in racing?
I started getting involved in racing at around the age of 11 when I started an indoor go kart in place no longer still exists called Chicago Indoor Racing. I did that for 1 year. I won the championship, and then I moved into a mini cup car in 2014, which are half scale. For those who don't know, they're basically half scale cars with rear engine stock cars. And so I went through that for 4 years through 17. And then I went into a late model sportsman starting in 2018. And then I did that for a few years. And then midway through 2021, I made my ARCA Menard Series debut with Wayne Peterson. And now I'm with Fast Track Racing in the ARCA Menard Series and still there in the ARCA Series.
So tell us, I mean, what type of um things, what type of class do you like to race?
For me, what I would like to race for sure is, I really like running what I do in the ARCA series right now. Eventually, if I could, I would really like to get and see if I could race in the Xfinity series or maybe even the Cup series. And so, that would be my end goal, per se. I'm really like what I'm doing in the ARCA series, but hopefully something in the Xfinity series or Truck series years down the road.
Yeah, so tell us, um, what is your family like for your support?
My family for sure. My mom and dad are always very supportive. My mom does a lot of my marketing, and that's more her background. A lot smarter when it comes to like computers and all that than I am. My dad, he works. He goes and works, and he's always at the racetrack when he can be. And so I have a good relationship with both of them, and they're always very supportive of what I do, and without them I wouldn't be able to do what I do today.
So tell us, what are some of your favorite cars to run on?
My favorite tracks to run on would be, I really like going to Bristol. Bristol's a really fun place. It's a lot of in the throttle a lot, a lot of quarter speed, a lot of G-force. It's a really fun track. I really liked Salem that we were just at. It doesn't seem to like me though, because I've not had any luck there. But it's still a really fun track, and I really like going. I really like the banked half mile tracks; they're really fun. But I also like kind of the some of the flatter tracks too. Milwaukee Mile this year is pretty fun as well to go to, and it's a pretty technical track to learn and very tricky. You get all the corners right and be consistent. And IRP is really fun as well. So I really do like the short tracks. But I kind of, I pretty much like all of them. I don't think there's a single track I dislike per se. But my favorites would definitely be, I really like the short tracks.
So tell us, you said Xfinity and Clutch were what you wanted to get to. How about some cup racing? What's your
I would
re
definitely,
what's
oh,
your
go ahead.
reaction to I just read today before we started this. What's your reaction when you hear Cup is coming to Iowa Speedway?
Yeah, I actually was really glad with that news that Cup was coming to Iowa Speedway. It's something that I feel like was long overdue. Iowa, I felt like, was deserving of a Cup date for a long time. And so I really liked having that news. I hope it really means we can bring the Xfinity series, and also I hope we and the ARCA series can go back there in the same weekend too. I think it's going to be a really good show. I think with some tweaks we'll probably make to the short track package for the Cup series next season, I feel like it's going to be able to put on a really good show. And if we get the Xfinity or Truck Series, and I definitely think we'll get the ARCA Series back there next season, I think it will make a really good week of racing at Iowa Speedway. And it's something that I feel like a bit overdue. And I'm really excited for it. Heck, I might even stay the whole weekend and watch the Cup race there in person myself, because it would be a really cool experience. How often can you say you saw the first Cup race at a racetrack? So that would be something for me. I think I might do. I've already got it circled on my calendar, and I definitely am very much looking forward to when the Cup Series races at Iowa Speedway next season.
What's what's your what was your reaction when you heard that it was a possible rumor? Now it's official. Now it comes out tomorrow, and it's a done deal.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. A lot of us in like the Midwest, we're really excited by the prospect, because, there's another track that was it was between Iowa and another track. So we were kind of hoping, a road course and Iowa Speedway. And so I was really hoping that, it would end up being Iowa. And we were really excited at the prospect of Iowa Speedway, because it's not been, it's kind of some ways a resurgence for the Iowa Speedway. Like getting first, they got IndyCar back, they've got ARCA. ARCA's been there ever since it opened, and now they've got the IndyCar back, and now it's back even better than ever with the Cup Series date next season. So I am really glad to see that the continued growth of Iowa Speedway, and I feel like it shows that short tracks, that when the fans want a short track on it and they have the support, Iowa Speedway is a perfect example of it. Great facilities, great fans around there that are very supportive of the track. And so I feel like next season Iowa Speedway is going to be a really good year for the track overall, and hopefully it helps out the local economy too, with having the Cup Series there for the first time.
So, what would you say the biggest um moment in your career up to this point is?
Probably my biggest moment in my career, I would probably say, I'd have to say my biggest moment in my career, I would say probably either maybe that it kind of would be a toss up, because I ran like Daytona for the first time in 2022. I feel like for me, my biggest moment in my career personally was when I won the CRA Late Model Championship at Winchester Speedway. And we kind of came into that race not expecting to win the title, and we were kind of at a disadvantage. I felt like we pulled off the upset by winning the race and taking the championship with it. And so, that what has to be, I would say, in my opinion, my biggest moment, and probably my favorite moment of my racing career to date.
Who I just have a couple more questions. So, who who do you think is your biggest influence in racing?
I always grew up as a Jeff Gordon fan. So I always watched the 24 car. I never saw the rainbow car. That was a little bit before my time. But I really liked watching, Jeff Gordon growing up myself. And, I always respected him, not just on the track, but off the track. Of all the things he did off the track is where I really became a fan of his. And so I would definitely, became a Jeff Gordon fan. Was a lifelong Jeff Gordon fan myself. And then people, really also like Mark Barton. Mark Barton was someone I had a lot of respect for, and I'd say I've grown a lot of respect for as well, since I've become a racer myself. And so Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin were two people that I really have a lot of respect for, that I watched a lot growing up. So those would have to be two of my favorites that I got to see growing up.
So, I mean, who do you turn to for advice? I mean,
Oh,
does
oh,
racing
for
run in
it.
your family or
Well, for me, I really have a good relationship with Andy Hillenberg and Todd Parrott. That, Todd's my crew chief, and Andy, is my car owner, but he's also spots for me too on majority of occasions. So, I feel like I have two people who have been in the sport. Andy being an ARCA Series champion, and even racing in the Cup Series, so he knows what it's like to be in the Cup Series and driving in the Cup Series and what it takes to get there. And Todd is a championship winning Cup crew chief. So I feel like I have a lot of, some really good people around me at Fast Track Racing with Todd and Andy that have, been there before. And I feel like no matter what, I can especially go to those two, and if I ever need advice, I can call them at any time. And so, I really do appreciate that. And that's something I feel like helped me grow a lot this year, especially having that, because I felt like early in my career, I didn't necessarily have that when I was, a driver owner in late models. I didn't really have, I've actually never had a dedicated driver coach for me. And so I felt like having Andy and Todd this year really helped me a lot. And so having them with me, I'd say has been a huge, huge help.
you bring up Todd? So let's dive into how much you know about him. So, uh, you said he really helped you in your racing
Mm-hmm.
this year. Um, what can you fill me in on what you mean by that? Like, how's his personality and yours? Do you feel like? How do
I would have to say, me and Todd, I think we're kind of similar personality wise, in that we kind of from day one, the first time we got to work with each other so I met him at Daytona this year when he was crew chiefing for someone else on the team, and I got to work with him at Pensacola for the first race, and that was when I felt like we really got to know each other, and we just kind of clicked from the get go. And so that's something that personality wise we really mesh. And it's kind of fun to hear some of Todd's stories about, like, when he was crew chiefing for Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte in the Cup Series. And so but what has he taught me? He's taught me a lot about, what technical on the car and what I need to know. And it's really helped me. I'd say it's really helped me become a lot more knowledgeable as a driver. And so I really do appreciate how working with Todd. And I think it's been a lot of fun this year.
so? What's your plans for next year? Can you share that?
Well, 2024, I do not have anything finalized at the moment, so I can't say. All I can say is that we've got something well in the works for 2024. We hope to have something finalized soon. I can't really give a timeline for which we probably hope maybe in an ideal scenario, we hope to have something finalized early December, late November, something that we can go public with here relatively soon. Nothing is signed and done yet at the moment, but working on it for next season, and things are, I'd say, going pretty well. And so I'm confident we can line something up for 2024 and have something ready to go soon.
Well, lastly, what do you want people to take away from you coming on this half-hour program to
Well, I would say for myself, it has to be that I probably want to want to mention that the Zachary Tinkle Foundation, if I may tell a little bit of a story, was that so we have the Zachary Tinkle Foundation for myself, my own foundation, and what we have is called the Racing for Rescues Initiative, and that we have a great partnership with a company we called Grateful Rescue and Sanctuary. And what we do on race weekends when I'm racing is that we have a trailer, my old mini cup racing trailer that we still have, and Grateful Rescue will collect product for us and give it to us to donate to a local animal shelter through next to the races that we are going to. And so what we do is drop off the product and donate it, and we try and both create awareness and publicity for that shelter that we identify that weekend, not only to just donate the raw product there as well that we collect, but we also want to create publicity for the animal shelters too, and try and encourage the local community to support and be more aware of their shelter too. And so that's how it's something we really do, and so that's something I really like to talk about. And
well talk about that some more real quick while we wrap up here.
yeah, the Zachary Tinkle Foundation. So I guess how it got started. So midway through the arc, before I actually got in the Arc of Menard series, we had our family late model team. Me, my dad, my mom, we all kind of had a share in running it, and it was very much a family effort. And unfortunately, midway in June of 2021, my dad, he unfortunately had a stroke. And so we had to sell all of our late model team assets to cover his medical bills. And so we were, for a while, I was sure I wouldn't race again. And thankfully, fans actually put together a GoFundMe, and that allowed me to keep on racing. And that was also when Wayne Peterson, he had a driver that had to back out at the last minute due to some on personal reasons on his side. And so he had a seat available. And so through GoFundMe, we were able to crowdfund me running the second half of the 2021 Arc and Menard series season with Wayne. And that helped a lot. And so that was actually part of the reason we came up with the idea for the Racing for Rescues initiative, was that we had so many people help us that we had, I want to say, over 1,000 people donate to it. And so it was a lot to be grateful for, and I'm very grateful that it happened, to that we had so much help in that regard. And it restored my faith in humanity in that process. And that was why we came up with it. And that was like, okay, how do we give back to the community that has helped us? And so that's when a friend of my mom, KJ, made introductions to introduce us to Pamela and Mike at Grateful Rescue. And that was when we came up with the Racing for Rescues initiative. And together, that's how we formed the partnership. And for me, it's about giving back to the community that's given back to us. And so, that's very much my takeaway from that.
Well, thank you for coming on today.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show tonight. It has been great talking to you.
All right, that will do it for this edition of Full Throttle Interviews. Goodbye, everyone.